Howdy, folks. I'm Kaffa S. Kraken, knaveishly keeping knobby kidneys.
I'm Amber.
And here are more knobby kidneys for us to take. I guess as giant octopi, we just have no qualms about taking kidneys. I guess that's where they're all going when you go into a bathtub. It makes sense now. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. I guess that's creepy. Let's get started.
I mean, we're doing cryptids. There's gotta be some creepy ones, right?
Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Answering My Door? I'm a 26-year-old male, and I live in a building that only offers studios. I love it. The rooms are spacious, they're bright, and it has a balcony overlooking trees and the outdoors. It's quiet, relaxing, and in a nice neighborhood. Honestly, it's the kind of layout that makes living alone enjoyable, which is great for me since I prefer to be alone and not to have to interact with too many people. Well, the problem is that this building has a door that connects the parking area to the stairs. This door is the only access. Everyone has a key without exception. The problem is that some neighbors don't seem to want to bring their keys along. And since I live on the first floor, there's no one else downstairs. Guess whose doorbell they ring every single time they're locked out? Mine. At first, I didn't mind helping out occasionally. People forgot their keys, but it's become a habit for some. Instead of taking responsibility and carrying their own keys, they just rely on me to let them in and out. I've gotten to the point of deliberately ignoring the doorbell to avoid any confrontation. The problem is that they just don't go away. They keep ringing the doorbell shamelessly as if I were their personal doorman. It's frustrating. I love the space, but I no longer feel that sense of privacy when I'm treated like this. A neighbor who forgets their keys every now and again is one thing, but making a habit of it at the expense of my peace of mind and the boundaries are another. I've already disconnected the doorbell, so should I paste a note on the door asking not to be disturbed? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I would say I recommend talking to the neighbors, the offenders, and if they continue to give you trouble, then it may be time to escalate to management.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing here is that OP has given them plenty of opportunity. They just need to tell them that this is like a one-time thing. You get me to answer the door once a month type of thing,
Yeah.
and that's it. You forget your keys more than once a month, and that's on you. I don't know. Like OP's being beyond generous here.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the entitlement of walking up to somebody's door and being like, "Hey, by the way, can you let me out?" I mean, that just seems super, super entitled.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't blame OP for getting frustrated about this because this is a frustrating situation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Madam Mim 88 says, not the jerk. Have you tried reporting these neighbors to the landlord or the building manager? Maybe they can help you. Until then, definitely keep your doorbell switched off unless you're expecting someone. And OP replies, guess I should report it to the manager anyways. I'll keep the doorbell disconnected since I don't have any visitors. I just wonder how people can be so shameless. Ugh. And N Weasley 21 says, not the jerk. If they're going to the parking garage, presumably to their car, why would they not keep the key to the stairs on their key ring? And OP replies, it puzzles me as well, entitled behavior. That's the part that I couldn't figure out. It's like, I carry my keys all the time together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, why not just have all your keys right there where you need them? Like if you have a habit of forgetting them, just attach them to the key ring. And Anim MCD says, not the jerk. The keyed entryway is to ensure resident safety. You don't know everyone in the building. Someone who you're familiar with might have gotten evicted, but you know it's me isn't a valid identification. Tell them that in the interest of everyone's security, you are no longer opening the door for anyone. And OP replies, exactly. If something were to go wrong, I don't want to be caught up in anyone's mess. This is a great insight. Thanks. That's actually, I think, all OP needs to write on their door note
Mm-hmm.
is that in light of security, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Letting My Boyfriend Miss His Flight and Going on Vacation Without Him? My boyfriend is always cutting it way too close with time, and I'm the total opposite. I'd rather be sitting at the gate early with nothing to do than stressing. We had an early flight last weekend, 8 a.m., and I wanted to leave our place by 5:30, but he wasn't ready until after 6. We didn't actually get through security until close to 7:30, and the boarding had already started. As soon as we're out of security, I told him that we need to go straight to the gate. They're boarding right now. And he said that he was starving and he wanted to grab some food. I told him that he could just buy food on the plane and it wasn't worth risking the flight. He insisted that he needed to eat now and not later and got into line anyways. Well, I didn't argue and I told him that he'll miss the flight if he doesn't come with me. He said that was fine, so I went straight to the gate. They were on the final boarding and I barely made it on. He showed up a few minutes later, but they had already closed the doors and wouldn't let him in. Now I've landed at our destination and he's still stuck at the airport waiting for the next available flight. He's furious, telling me that I abandoned him and should have stayed back, or at least pushed him harder to come with me. I told him that I'm not his babysitter and he made his choice. And I warned him exactly what would happen. So am I the jerk for going alone? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. You made the consequences plain. He's an adult. He made the choice to stay behind knowing he would likely miss the flight. Like, he has to realize that planes do not operate on your own personal schedule. They've got a lot of people they've got to get from point A to point B, and if you're not there on time, they're not going to wait for you.
Yeah, I mean, OP told them as much, and he said, fine, I don't care if I miss the flight.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do at that point in time? He said he didn't care if he missed the flight or not.
Right.
So there's nothing more than OP can do.
He's not like a 5-year-old you can pick up and carry on the plane.
Yeah, I mean, if he was a 5-year-old and you're leaving your 5-year-old in the airport, then yeah, that's a problem. You shouldn't do that unless you're trying to get rid of them. No, please don't do that, and don't hold me responsible if you do. Yeah, I don't know what else OP could have done, to be quite honest. Like, this just seems pretty, obvious that OP wasn't going to hold his hand and force him onto the plane like he claims that he wants. I don't know. OP doesn't need to deal with him. He just needs to take care of himself.
If OP had managed to, I think even no matter how hard she pushed, he wasn't going to listen. But even if she had managed to, he would have spent the whole flight grousing about how OP made him get on the plane and it would have been fine and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
There's no winning with him. Like, he has to suffer the natural consequences.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Famous Special 44 says, people like him make life miserable for their partners. Either you are a nag and constantly stressed trying to shepherd them like rats in an alley, or you miss out on things and they shrug their shoulders, making the vein in the side of your neck bulge, or they miss out and blame you. They never change, so make sure you do the same thing next time. Go on and enjoy and laugh at their childish pouting. Not the jerk. And No Potential 7242 says, not the jerk. I don't understand why he's angry. You're not his mother. He's not a child. He made a choice, and this situation is 100% on him. Do not get involved in a long back and forth. Tell him once. I'm sorry that you didn't make the flight. I did warn you. I'm not going to allow this to be my fault or ruin my vacation. If you show up with a bad attitude, we'll have a problem. Let's just agree that in the future, you'll listen when I tell you that it's time to go. And for my part, I will try not to get frustrated with you if you need me to push you like that, like you're not an independent adult. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling Out My Friend Who Pretends That He Dropped Out of Our Ivy League University? My friend, a 22-year-old male, is a rising star in the startup world. He has raised a significant round of venture capital money and has gone viral several times for his tech. He has also amassed a whole following of wannabe tech bros on LinkedIn and other spaces who admire him. The problem is him and his co-founder are both lying, calling themselves Ivy League dropouts when they actually graduated. They're bragging about how they don't need a college education to succeed, comparing themselves to Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, and influencing younger kids to drop out of school. In reality, they built their startup on the back of their school's generous resources. All of their early financial support and access to tech has come from our school's startup incubator and tech labs. And they did graduate. I walked across the stage with them in May and watched them get their diplomas. But now they're online bragging about how they're Ivy League dropouts because they took a semester off 2 years ago to focus on the startup. So I called them out on social media and said my friend is lying to his fans and promoting anti-education and nonsense. And when he actually built his whole startup off of our college's resources. That ignited a whole social media storm, and people are arguing on my friend's page. And he's since been saying that I'm just jealous of him and that it is an inconsequential matter whether he's a dropout or not. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. If it was inconsequential, then it wouldn't matter, and he wouldn't be throwing a fit right now that OP did
Yeah,
this.
I mean, that you took the words right out of my mouth, right?
Like, this is something he's doing very deliberately to paint a particular image of himself
Mm-hmm.
that's not true and is misleading other people that it may cause them to make unwise decisions with their
Yeah.
futures.
Well, the thing is this. There are people who drop out of, schools and pursue their passion,
Hmm.
right? And if you think that you have it all worked out and you want to pursue your passion instead of going into finishing your degree, that's all fine. I'm not saying that you can't do that. I mean, there's been plenty of people who have. It's statistically unlikely that you're going to be one of those big stars that
Hmm.
do. It's just not the norm, right? I mean, we hear about the success stories, we don't hear about the failures. It's
Hmm.
survivorship bias. And the fact of the matter is that they are painting themselves as a different image. And the reason why they're doing that is they're trying to gain this kind of cult following, right? And that's just not right. I mean, they were misrepresenting themselves, and it was bound to come out eventually, right?
Hmm.
Somebody was going to find a picture or dig up a picture of them eventually walking across this auditorium to pick up their diplomas, right?
Hmm.
And I think that OP, I mean, while I don't know if it was OP's place or not to tattle on them like this, I think that it was eventually going to catch up with them. If it wasn't OP, it was going to be someone else who got tired of hearing them go on and on and on about how they're, these independent people who've done all these startup things by themselves without the help of anybody. It just is in poor taste to do something like that, you know?
Well, it is, and it contributes to the anti intellectualism we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with right now when they directly benefited from their school's tech resources.
Yeah.
It's really dishonest.
Well, and it paints a really bad image too for that poor school, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't want to put it like that. I mean, these schools have tons of money. If they're Ivy League,
Right.
they have unlimited resources, really. But it doesn't really sincerely show what the school is producing, right? I
Hmm.
mean, it makes it look like, oh, I don't need this education when they needed that education. They wouldn't have finished their degree if they didn't need that education, right?
Hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Fonda Say says, unfortunately, the hallmark of privilege that usually gets you into an Ivy is denying the advantages you got to make it sound like you had to struggle when there was no real struggle. And OP replies, he was actually a low-income student on a full financial aid. Our university paid for all his tuition and living expenses and helped him build his startup. And now he's telling other low-income kids that they don't need college and bragging about how he's a dropout. He's not even the only startup founder that I personally know pretending to be a college dropout on social media. And that's the thing is like this school has given him everything.
Hmm.
And here he is like biting the hand that feeds him. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. Don't do this, right?
Well, and like, I really hate the whole self made notion. Like, nobody is self made. We all get help from someone somewhere. Our parents, our school systems, our like communities, there's always help going in, and that's not a thing to be ashamed of. It's something that's worth celebrating. Like, we live in communities for a reason,
Yeah.
and I really wish we would get away from this whole self-made, nonsense.
All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Going on Vacation When My Husband is Struggling? So, a throwaway for obvious reasons. My husband and I married 2 years ago, and we agreed to keep our finances separate. There were two reasons for this. One, he made more at the time, and I was in a layoff prone industry. So, he said that he didn't want to be responsible for the household if I was laid off. I agreed because my likely income would outstrip him quickly due to my industry paying better, but it's also more risky. We also agreed to split expenses 50-50 and just save and invest for ourselves. The other reason that I agreed was because he likes to make risky bets, margin calls, and things like that. I don't know much about it. I just invest in indexes like VOO since I'm not well versed in picking stocks. This allows me to invest without the stress of stock picks. We have a prenup signed on this with both of our lawyers reviewing. The only stipulation is that he is responsible for the household expenses up to a year if I'm pregnant and take unpaid maternity. Well, last year, he lost about $60,000 in a margin call. He was crying, and I thought that was the end of his risky bets, but that's on him to decide. I still have my investments, and I took vacation without him last year because he said that he needs to recover his savings and couldn't go. It was a girls' trip, so he wasn't upset by it. This year, I'm also going on vacation to New Zealand and see some family that I haven't seen since the pandemic. He got upset when I told him because he said that he was still trying to recover from his $60,000 loss last year. Well, I reminded him that we agreed to keep things separate for a reason, but he said that I should have more sympathy for him since he said he just lost what was nearly after tax earnings. He said that I should be paying for his portion of the trip since he kindly would pay for both of us when I have a child, which we're planning on. I told him that this was in the prenup, but nothing in the prenup says that I need to pay for him to go on vacation if he loses his money gambling, which he argues back isn't gambling, and I just don't understand what he's doing. I end up going and telling him that he can take back the maternity if he wants, but then I'm not having a child because he broke the terms of our prenup and we're still arguing about it. Am I the jerk here? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, not the jerk, but do you two even like each other? Like, why are you married at this point in time? It doesn't sound like I understand. He sounds like a very selfish person because on his original terms and not wanting to share things with you. But it also sounds like OP's kind of like, fighting fire with fire. Like, I'm not saying OP should pay for him. I think this relationship probably should end because it sounds like they're both just very like tit for tat. But yeah.
I have a huge problem with this. I mean, I don't know if anyone is in the wrong per se legally. Like the fact that he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to divorce you if you get laid off and I don't want to
Yeah.
support you." How much more clear can you be that you are not interested in a relationship but you're interested in a certain financial
Mm-hmm.
arrangement, right? Like this may be like a tax advantage for him, and is that how he's looking at the relationship? I just think that the whole situation screams that these two people aren't actually in a marriage. They're
Mm-hmm.
more like roommates who are planning on having a child together,
Mm-hmm.
right? The fact that he's like, "Hey, our prenup says that I'll pay for you while you're having your child," like that should be a given,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, isn't that part of being a parent, is paying for this stuff? As for OP, like, I think that there's an understanding right now in this relationship that it's everyone for themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
you take care of your finances, I take care of my finances. That's that. Whether or not this is gambling, and it is gambling,
Mm-hmm.
is up to him. And the fact that he's like, "Oh, this isn't gambling," kind of concerns me because he's lost $60,000,
Yeah.
isn't admitting that what he did was a gamble, and now is probably going to go back to doing this some more.
Mm-hmm.
Like margin calls are such a risky thing, and unless you're doing insider trading or something like that,
Which,
you're not going to have the insights you need in order to always guarantee that you come out on top.
and I mean, if you're doing insider trading, then you can go in some serious, serious legal trouble.
Yeah, and the fact is that OP isn't responsible for his finances. He made some really foolish financial decisions and he's suffering for it, but I also just don't feel like they're actually a married couple. They're not working together as a team. And this is very much like what Amber said, tit for tat. I don't know what more you can say about it than that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck on your impending divorce. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say on this one. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Oops, all jerks. I am fine with that
Yeah.
judgment, Wheel. I'm fine with that judgment. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why couldn't the bird sing?
The bird couldn't sing because it didn't. It had its mouth full of cotton. I don't know. Why couldn't the bird sing?
Because it was a hummingbird,
Oh, I see. That would make sense.
and it's National Hummingbird Day,
Ooh,
and also National Read a Book Day.
very nice. So go read a book out by the hummingbird feeder and honor your book and hummingbird friends.
I mean, I think that sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Reading books and bird watching.
And I have the special guest tea, a special guest tea, not the special guest tea. Now this one is a different one from last time, but it's in the same kind of container. It too is a very old tea, long since expired. As you can see, it's almost gone because I was drinking it for a long time. It was very good tea at the time. I enjoyed it. Oh, I should tell you what it is. It's coconut chai gourmet black tea. So it has black tea, cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, clover, orange peel, nutmeg, black pepper, and natural flavors. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that there was black pepper in this, to be quite honest. It doesn't actually have any real heat to it. But you can taste the coconut, you can taste like the cardamom, a little bit of the cinnamon. So there are things that you can definitely taste in this. I would say it definitely has coconut as the main flavor. Oh, and another thing is it's nice. The orange peel is very well balanced out. Like it doesn't overpower. Like some teas, when they have orange in it, that's all you taste. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on messing around and finding out.
Planes are not going to wait for you, so if you want to be on the flight, pay attention to the time.
I like it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!